Okay, good morning. I'm going to turn things over to our lieutenant from Crimes Against Persons section.
Good morning. I'm Lieutenant Nick Butler with the Crimes Against Persons section of the Sioux Falls Police Department. And I want to talk a little bit this morning about a suspicious death call that I think some of you are aware of. Fill in some of the details and give you an opportunity to ask some questions here too. So on July 5th, in the morning hours around 9 o'clock, patrol officers responded to the area of 3rd and Cliff for a report of cardiac arrest. The reporting party was a caseworker from one of our local outreach organizations who reported, along with management, finding one of the residents there deceased. Responding officers located the victim, and I'm going to do my best to pronounce the name, and I can spell it for you as well. First name is Nigussie, N-I-G-U-S-S-I-E. Last name is Bulti, B-U-L-T-I. Date of birth is 8/21 of 59. Mr. Bulti was deceased inside the residence and partially inside a large garment bag. During the course of the investigation, a search warrant was completed at the residence and a number of items of evidence were collected. Additionally, a suspect was developed from that case, and that suspect's name is last name Jewett, J-E-W-E-T-T. First name Morningstar, all one word. 8/30 of 93 is his birthday. At the time of that our investigation began, Mr. Jewett was lodged at the Minnehaha County Jail following an arrest on July 4th on completely unrelated charges. Through our investigation, probable cause was developed to believe that Mr. Jewett was partially, if not completely, responsible for the death of Mr. Bulti, and an arrest warrant was issued. Mr. Jewett is currently lodged at the Minnehaha County Jail on charges of aggravated assault and being held on a $50,000 cash bond. The investigation is ongoing, and we anticipate that there will be additional charges coming for Mr. Jewett in the future, but we do need to let that play out. Because it is an active investigation, there are limited answers that I can give you beyond that, but I'd be happy to take some questions.
Sure. Mr. Jewett is set to make a court appearance today?
I don't believe he's set to make an appearance today, and I could be wrong. I'd have to check the records, but I believe it'll be next week for his initial appearance.
That complex has been nothing but trouble. Every time you drive by, there's police there. Fill us in on a little bit about that. Are you aware of that, where there's constantly problems there?
Well, I think the area in general has its share of issues, and we certainly try to address those issues as they arise. As with all parts of the city that have troubles, we respond when we're called, and we certainly try to do proactive patrols to prevent crime from happening. I'm not sure that this is necessarily an example of out of control type of a residence or anything, but we do recognize that there are problems.
Do you think it's possible Mr. Jewett could be charged with homicide in this case?
It's possible. Those charging decisions ultimately come down to the state's attorney's office, and we work very closely with them to determine what charges are appropriate. And in some cases, those decisions also lie within a grand jury's decision too. So we'll kind of need to let that play out.
Any estimate how long the body was, he'd been dead before it was found?
We would estimate that within a week. All right, if there are any other questions, have a great afternoon.
All right, a couple of things I'll cover. One of them is one of the aggravated assaults. This happened early this morning. We were called about 2:50 a.m. This was in the 500 block of South First Avenue. It was actually behind the Top Hat Bar. We had a few people that were in back, kind of the back patio area. There was basically, we're focusing on 3 people, and there was some type of disagreement that happened. There was kind of, I guess, a little tussle to begin, then the people were separated, and then things kind of flared up again. At one point, we had 2 men that punched, kicked, and choked the victim. and then ended up walking away after that assault took place. The victim was found unconscious, had head injuries, and was taken to the hospital. Those injuries were later determined to be non-life-threatening injuries. We had an officer that found the two suspects walking away just a short distance away. Both of them were arrested for aggravated assault. I think that's about it. The victim is 35. I can give you suspect names if you are interested. Yes? Okay. The first one, his last name is Norland, Norlund. First is Garrett, Garret. Middle is Ryan, Ryan. He's 24 from Sioux Falls. And our second suspect, computer just went. Okay. Second suspect, same last name, Norland, Norlund. First is Tyler, Tyler. Middle is Eugene, Eugene. And he's 27, also from Sioux Falls. The other aggravated assault involves a juvenile. Arson, we had a couple of those. One of them involves a juvenile. The other one, we had an arrest that was made. This was a guy that basically started some fireworks on fire and threw them into a dumpster that was located next to an apartment garage. That started the fire inside the dumpster. The fire department was able to put that out. He was arrested. Initially, he gave a fake name, so he was arrested for false impersonation and then reckless burning. No damage outside that dumpster. That took place yesterday evening. That was about 8 p.m. That was in the 5800 block of West Christopher Place. Do you want his name? Yep. Last is Gullickson, Gullikson. First is Everett, Everett. Middle is Lee, Lee. And he's 39 from Lake Andes, South Dakota. That's pretty much it on the log. The burglary was a house that was entered. Nothing big from the disorderlies. Frauds or ID thefts. Larcenies, a lot of shopliftings, a couple of bicycles, a couple of unlocked cars. Sex offense, that was a report. No big quantities on their narcotics. Simple assaults were reports on domestics. And the vandalisms, a lot of cars that were damaged, had car windows that were broken. Some had items taken from them, a gate to a business, and then some graffiti. That's it, unless you guys have anything else for me?
Lieutenant,
Go ahead.
Lieutenant Butler's name spelled Nickbutler.
Correct.
And I understood if you need to do some digging for these answers. Sam, how many open homicide cases does the Sioux Falls Police Department currently have?
It's a good question. I'll have to do some digging on that. I won't be able to pull that up right now, but I can shoot an email out to everybody and let them know. It's, I know I want to say there's one or two from, it was either last year or the year before, that I think we're awaiting charges on. Other than that, I believe everything's been solved up until 1999, and then there's a handful before that, but I don't know. Are you looking like the whole history,
Yeah.
or just more recent history?
Just, I guess, what are current open investigations?
Okay, I'll find out that information and let you know.
But certainly, it's no more than a handful.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I think we've got, don't quote me on that, but I think there's just like a couple of them more recently, and then after that, it's probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 maybe total. So I know we've had a 100% clearance rate from basically 2,000 on, with the respect of these few recent cases just in the last couple of years. But I'll find that out for you.
Gotcha. And presently, how many homicides has the city had in 2023?
This will be the first one, I think. Let me double check quick. That one I should be able to pull up quick, I think. Yeah, I think this would be our first, but. Or is it second? No, it's not telling me. This one. Yeah, this should be our first one this year for 2023. I don't see any others, so I'll double check on that to make sure, but I believe this is our first one that we've had this
Assuming,
year.
of course, if that charge is filed.
Right, yeah. And I think the coroner, the autopsy was done yesterday, so I think the preliminary was that it is a homicide. So whether or not there'll be, the charges could be different. Obviously, we don't always have murder charges with homicides, but I think the coroner, the initial assessment was that it was a homicide.
Yeah, it's not like they got in a fight and he got up and 3-4 days later, wasn't feeling well, and then, he passed
Yeah,
away.
right.
So,
Anything else?
I think that's it. Thanks, Sam.
Okay, thanks.